Hey there. So, welcome to season 2 of Sales Made Simple podcast. I'm really excited to have this lovely lady back, Claire Sewell. Hello, how are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you. And congrats on season 2. Awesome.
I know there was a point there where I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do season 1, let alone like a second one. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. Got loads of really cool stuff for the audience and the listeners. So yeah, really, really looking forward to it and excited to have you back on it. Share your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're going to have a little look at the thoughts and the subsequent feelings that come along when we look at getting ourselves visible, selling and marketing ourselves, because this comes up massively for any business owner, and anyone that says they're not affected by it, I think are telling porkies.
Porky
Flares up
pies.
all the time. So yeah, so for me, I see this happening a lot when my audience are trying to get visible, or they're trying to put an offer out there, or they're trying to think of some things that they can give their audience. And there's the usual suspects always flare up, like, what if no one comes? What if this? What if that? What if it's not good enough? So I thought we could take people back a few steps and just have a look at what causes that and what they can do differently. So that's hopefully what you're going to leave with after you've watched this episode. And I thought, who better to do this than yourself, because you live and breathe this stuff. So really looking forward to your take on that. What causes that? Let's start at the beginning.
Well, I love how you just pointed on this right from the very start, right? Where you said there was a point there where I thought I couldn't do season 1, let alone season 2, right? And here you are in season 2. And I think that's such a poignant point to consider and for us all to reflect on, is how often do we tell ourselves that we can't do something or we don't want to do something, and then we go ahead and do it. And if we didn't want to do it, we ended up doing it and we had a really good time. Like, the first thing to recognize is that all thought and even your beliefs are energy that is temporary, it's transient. None of it's fixed. None of it's, set in concrete. All thought is temporary. And
Yeah,
so,
that's a really good point, isn't it? That when we're feeling those emotions, we just think we're never going to not feel them, or they're so powerful, aren't they, sometimes?
yeah. I mean, I was thinking this morning about beliefs, and how beliefs look so fixed for us, don't they? And
Mm,
yet, I'm working with my clients all the time just on this one. It's called self-inquiry, and so it's inquiring: is that thought real? Is that thought true? And we can take it back right from when we were children, where we really believed in Santa Claus. We really believed in Father Christmas. We really thought it was true. And that
is it
created
not?
our
Wait, hang on a
wait,
second.
I might be doing some spoiler alerts here. But in that moment when we thought it was true, we had an entire experience around
Mm,
Christmas that created our reality. And our beliefs, this is what's a psychological premise that's worth really becoming aware of and noticing, is that our beliefs create our reality, and our reality reflects or reinforces our beliefs. So,
oh, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you got an example of that? Like, how would I know if that's happening to me? Obviously, it's happening all the time, but like, how does that work in the context of maybe producing something and wanting to get it out there, but then holding it back because you think it's maybe not good enough?
Yeah, so it's really easy our beliefs, although they're unconscious, they're really easy to notice, because you just need to look into your external world, basically external reality, and it's a reflection of our internal beliefs. So if our beliefs create our reality and our reality reflects our beliefs, then all we need to do is look at an area in our life that we're not getting the results we want, and we can know, I've got a belief going on there, and then we start the self-inquiry as to what the belief is.
Oh, I love this. This tidies this up so much for people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when we get so bogged down in it, it's literally just going back to that. I think you say a really good phrase of go within and you'll never go without.
Mm.
And I think the mistake is a lot of people start looking externally first, like, well, it's the market, it's the time of year, it's the state of the nation, no one's got any money.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm not making any money. I'm like, yeah, because you think no one's making money. And then you go and do something or don't do something um, with that thought. And I do see this a lot, and I think you must see it as well, where people are hustling. Maybe they're doing they're doing the actions, but from a really really poor shit quality belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's still not, it's misfiring because, again, that echo chamber of like, oh, I'm doing the stuff, but with a really poor quality belief. So like the audience senses that, and then that they're not taking the next steps with whatever it is that you're asking them to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
So there's the mindset side of this, and I'm going to take you through the cycle of reality, which is I think one of the most powerful psychological premises for us to understand how we are creating our reality. So we'll talk through that, but next, sitting alongside mindset is the energetics of
yeah,
our thinking. So, you know, everything's energy, thoughts, feelings are energy. And our thoughts send the signal and our emotions draw the experience. So when we're experiencing like a low quality thought, as you say, like, oh, no one's buying, it's Christmas time, no one's buying, there's no, you know, no one wants what I have to offer, or my messaging isn't clear, or my offer's not right. That thought is sending a signal, and the feeling state is drawing the experience to us.
yeah,
So that means whatever you're thinking and feeling in that moment, and this is consistent, right? It doesn't just happen with one. There is a layering approach, but what that means is whatever we're thinking in that moment is pretty much the experience that we're going to have.
yeah, yeah. So if you've got like a lead magnet for something or a funnel or whatever that you're pushing out, and you really believe that like people haven't got any money, or I don't know anyone that would buy this, is that really going to generate any results? You might have the
Yeah,
best lead magnet ever, or funnel, but if you've got that like feeling energy around it, it's not enough to just like think, well, you know, like maybe there's someone out there. You've got to actually really feel it as well. Otherwise, it will still misfire a little bit. You
yeah,
might make some sales, but it's also going to feel awful as well if you're in that conflict of like, I really want to believe this over here, but I'm stuck on an old belief system here, and this is what's running the show, and this is what's on repeat. It does take time to like acknowledge that and then move like forward. It's not, oh, I just think a new thought, there we go, it's done. You know, there's that practice of that energy of like sitting in it and really feeling, what does that new thought actually feel like? For me, the biggest one that I've ever had, and I think you helped me with this actually, was that I didn't think I was good enough to be a business owner. I didn't think I was clever enough. I got told in previous roles that I was too emotional. I actually don't know what that means now looking
yeah,
back, but yeah, like just a lot of emotion, a lot of thinking. But I took that into setting up a business, and I actually day one opened up my laptop, and I was a self-employed person from being employed, but I took my employment belief with me. So I ran my diary the same way, back to back, burning out. And my belief was that if you want to make more money, you're going to have to sacrifice and you're going to have to work hard. And actually, yes, you do have to put effort in, but the money comes from a direct correlation of impact. So if you're making like huge impact, you can charge more money because there's more value, there's more impact. And you don't have to work 8 hours a day and 10 hours a day and 16 hours a day. You can actually make that impact in less time and make more money. And so that was like a whole new belief that I had to buy into. So I was just like showed up day one, oh, I'm a self-employed person now, operating on a really old belief system. So it felt hard, it felt difficult. I felt like I still had to sacrifice. And that's how I made my first money as a self employed person. It was pretty freaking difficult.
hustling and
When I
grinding.
had new beliefs,
Mm.
it became a lot easier.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's a
I do
beautiful
feel that.
example. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a lovely example of the energetics of how we're creating our reality. So, anything we do, if we're doing it in a lack mentality or a limitation
Yeah.
mentality, or as you say, a low quality belief, then we can work as hard as we like, but that action, that activity is not going to pick up nearly as powerfully as if we're acting in an alignment with our visions and our goals.
Oh, God, I love that. I love that. If you're listening, well, of course you're listening because it's a podcast episode, but like really listen to that bit.
Yeah, I call them
That's the
energy
thing.
leaks. And energy leaks are when we're acting out of alignment with our goal. And
Yeah.
energy leaks, common energy leaks, are negative inner chatter, negative self-talk. That's
Yeah.
that's one. And then there's lack of boundaries, etc. But where we are in terms of our conversation, negative self-talk is highly impactful on our results. And
Yeah.
I would suggest, if anyone is dealing with those sorts of things, then really look at the process of self-inquiry. It's so powerful. Or work with someone who can guide you through it, such as yourself.
Have you got any kind of top, like, couple of questions that you could get listeners to maybe just start asking yourself when you get that? Maybe you don't know the thought, maybe the thought isn't quite clear, but you get the emotion of like, I feel a bit crap. I feel a
Mm.
bit like worried, doubt, anxious. Where's that coming from? You might get the thought as well, but either way, some like you're in that low quality state. When we say self inquiry, have you got a couple of like golden little nuggets that you can share
Yeah,
with
well,
us
let's
too?
let's go through the cycle of reality first, and
Yeah,
then we
cool.
can because we'll get to the feeling states there. It's the feeling states that often trip us up. So let's just explain that to your listeners first.
Yeah, sure. Let's do
And
that.
I've literally just dropped a video on this as well, so I'll give you the link for people if they wanted to go into it deeper. But this is called the cycle of reality, and what it states is that our thoughts or our beliefs dictate our feelings. Those feeling states then kind of tripwire our behaviors. Our behaviors create our actions, and our actions then create our results. So what is so powerful and really life-changing if you study this cycle of reality and you really explore the depths of what it's telling us, is what it is telling us is that every experience that we have is coming from our thoughts or our belief system. Our thoughts and beliefs are 100% creating our reality. Second to that, which is more important for people to see, is that 95% of our thoughts and our beliefs are unconscious. We're only acting 5% of the time in our conscious memory. So it's very difficult to notice a thought, but what we do notice is the feeling.
Yeah.
So thoughts, beliefs dictate what we're feeling. And so that's also saying that all of our feeling states are directly attributed to our thoughts and belief system. So where we're most challenged, what we're mostly up against, is the feelings of discomfort. And
Yeah.
if you look at anything, any example of like right from being at child stage, we're taught not to feel. We're taught that feelings aren't good. Think of a child, with 5 years old, 4, whatever, with, crying, something's happened, in tears, and mum or dad or someone goes, here, don't cry, here, have a lolly, or here, let's have an ice cream, or look over here. So we're kind of
Yeah.
taught out of feeling. We're taught that to avoid our feelings, evade them, or feelings aren't good. And so we've really, unless you've done intense sort of self-inquiry, we're largely operating on the understanding that we don't want to feel. So we do numbing behavior. Social media is good for that. Drinking, eating, fitness, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we try to numb our feelings. And it's the feeling states that stop us from taking any action. You think about if you want to call that, that hot prospect, or you want to do any cold calling or DMing, outreach, anything like that, the feeling of discomfort is what tells you, oh, let's do something else.
Yeah. What's your avoidance like flavor? Mine's cleaning. What's yours?
Yeah, mine's
Mine is
eating,
definitely,
snacking,
yeah,
snacking, or putting on the tea, cup of herbal tea.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
There's
so
like a flavour of avoidance, isn't there?
exactly. And I love that you say that, because we all do have our conditioned behavior, and it is
Yeah,
to start noticing that as well, right? That's another way of noticing the unconscious thinking, is
brilliant.
starting to
Yeah.
track our conditioned behavioral patterns. But yeah, just to say that, like, it's really the avoidance of the feeling is what stops us from taking action on anything. We don't want to feel uncomfortable. So
Wow, that is such a
yeah,
mind. Like that alone is just gonna be so good for people to start understanding and hearing this. This is amazing.
yeah. So let's go deeper with that, because to your point,
Oh,
what can people do?
yeah.
So the first thing is to notice the feeling. Like, you won't, if you notice the thought, great, but you largely won't. We'll largely be noticing the feeling. And
Hmm.
a feeling state it could even be boredom. Boredom is a very common feeling state to
That's an
try and avoid.
interesting one, isn't it? We don't often think of that as um, a feeling state. We just experience it, don't we? We're like, oh, I'm just bored.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this goes back to what I
Mm.
said at the top of this call as well. Our feelings and our thoughts we think are real. We really trust them. We really take them on board. But I want your listeners to start exploring that, start examining that for themselves. And you can very easily do it, like I said, by just look at a time when you really thought you couldn't do something. I remember I was talking with on a call the other day, and we were sharing our skydiving experience, and I 100% told myself and told everyone else that I would never jump out of a plane until I jumped out of a plane. So you don't believe, or you don't know
Wow.
how you're going to do it until you do it. And so I want, what I'm saying, like, just really start exploring the, how much we trust our thoughts and our feelings when they're really not accurate. Our
I
feeling
really love that.
states
And
aren't,
yeah,
our feeling states
sorry.
aren't telling us just really to note that our feeling states aren't telling us about the future or about our capacity or about our potential. They don't know any of that. Our feeling states don't know our bank account. They don't know our skill set. They don't know about our past experiences. They don't know about our past. They don't know about our future. They can't predict the future, and yet we think that they do all the time. You know, if you think about going out to make a sales call, and in our head we will 100% think this person's not going to be interested, and so we believe that, and so we don't make the call. So yeah, all that to say, really start exploring the trust that you put on your thoughts and feelings, because that started from you saying we don't think about it. We think we're bored, and that seems to be a fact to us.
Yeah. Oh my God, Claire, this is amazing. This is going to help people so much just to even start this process of like, why am I not doing the stuff? Because I think people often say to me, like, I just don't know what to do to get sales. You instinctively know what to do. You're going to go and speak to more people, you're going to make offers, and you're going to invite them to take the next step. That's not rocket science. We all know that. We're going to have to go and speak to people. We're going to have to put ourselves out there. Like, do we know that? But then it's like you say, it's that discomfort, however that shows up for you, angst, worry, doubt, wanting to throw up, whatever it is, and then like really sitting in that and feeling, well, I don't want to feel it. And I think the biggest thing is, if you want the result, it is on the other side of that discomfort. So like, how prepared are you to feel a little bit of discomfort so that you can get past that, and then it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as you practice the reps of, for example, making sales calls. You know, your first sort of couple of calls are going to be really uncomfortable, and then after a while it becomes less of a discomfort and you've got less thinking on it. But you can't get there until you are prepared to go through it. And a lot of the time for my clients, they're like butting up against that discomfort. They're just not aware that that's what's happening. And so you are going to have to feel some discomfort to get any kind of change or transformation or a different result. And I think going back to what you said, as a child, we are taught to like avoid that discomfort or like temper it somehow. And so we're not very skilled at that. And I see this in like the younger generation coming up. They have no tolerance for discomfort. Everything, social media is a classic example. How many times do we scroll? How many hours a day are we numbing ourselves with something else and then telling ourselves we don't have time to do the work or the effort or the thing that's needed to get the result? um, and
Yeah.
it's a hard one because it starts within, and we always look outside for like, well, it's obviously something else or someone else's fault, or like it's not me. And again, we're out of control, then we're out of the driving seat, and that's not true.
Yeah.
So I love this model as well, because I think a lot of clients, and you must feel the same when clients come to you, they feel out of control, like they can't fix this.
Yeah.
And actually what you've talked us through is that we're very much in the driving seat and in control of this if we just start the process of that self-inquiry and start taking control and taking responsibility for this and moving ourselves through and just being okay with feeling that discomfort. It's, and that's why working with someone like you said, is it's probably going to be easier than you trying to like do that yourself.
Mm.
But certainly you can start the process off for sure of that self-inquiry. And I just love this. I just love this whole model
Yeah, me too. I mean,
so much.
I love what you just said, and there's so much in it. But I think the main thing that I teach with my clients is really self leadership and self responsibility, and that's, you know, personal power versus circumstantial power. So most of us have been taught that we feel okay when the circumstances are right, but as soon as those circumstances are out of alignment with our expectations, we go into emotional suffering or emotional turmoil. So
Yeah.
what I'm teaching, and you're doing with this with your clients as well, is, and that's what the cycle of reality shows us as well, is that we are 100% in control of our entire reality, of entire results. We are the ones that make it or break it, that make it happen or don't, that take the action or don't take the action. And we're always reaping the rewards of that, or, you know, or
Yeah.
not. But the what you were saying about sitting with the discomfort, you know, really that's a very, very powerful thing for us to do. And one of the key points of self-inquiry, because if we get round to this, so we're at the, you know, we've recognized that our thoughts and beliefs are creating our feelings. So we've got the feeling, we're in the feeling. Now, what do I do with that? So there is an element, and I'll take you through a self-inquiry process, but there is an element of just learning to sit in the feeling, to get comfortable with the discomfort. You'll never be comfortable with it, but you can sit in it and recognize it. Oh, I've been here before
Yeah.
many times. And the more that we sit in the discomfort, the more we see, oh, this is the feeling of worry, or this is the feeling of anxiety, or this is the feeling of terror sometimes, you know, and where is this coming from? Well, the cycle of reality 100% shows us it's coming from our thinking and our beliefs. So just in that one understanding, or that one examination, there is a little bit of ease with the feeling, because
Yeah.
before we do the inquiry, it really looks like it's coming from the person or the
Yeah.
situation. So once it's coming from the person or the situation, then we feel like we're out of control,
Yeah.
which enhances the feeling state. So just recognizing and really starting to familiarize yourself and explore yourself, the cycle of reality, and how accurate, how truthful it is, then we can start sitting in our feelings with a little bit more ease. And the more you
Oh,
become
I love
familiar
that.
with those feeling states, like worry, here's my friend worry. Here's my
Yeah.
friend self-doubt. Here's my friend not good enough. I mean, that's really when I started with this work, like, you know, probably 10 years ago. I was like, I just got so sick of the feeling of self-doubt and not good enough that I was like, oh, here you go again. Right, let's go. We know this. We know where this is going. So let's change the record, shall we?
And I think you're right. It's very predictable, isn't it? You know, like when I say we've got a flavour of it, if I'm
Yeah.
doing something new, I immediately have a thought that comes in of like, you're not good enough to do that, or you're not creative enough to do that, or like, you can't do things like that. So I'm like ready for it because I can disarm it straight away. I'm like, oh, here we go. I knew you were going to show up, and that's cool because we've done things like this before. We've never done this before, but we've done things like this before, and we've been okay. So I think we're just going to give it a go, if that's all right, and it kind of just like, I have a bit of humor with mine. I have a bit of dry humor, how I speak to my kind of inner voice. But I'm ready for it now because it's highly predictable. If you're going to start putting yourself out there, creating new things for clients, inviting them to come, inviting them to a sales call, you can guarantee your flavor of self-doubt is going to have a voice. It's going to show up because you're doing something potentially risky. So it's obviously going to flare up. So yeah, I find it very predictable.
Feeling states is really important as well. Like sometimes, as you've experienced, panic and terror are pretty uncomfortable to be sitting with. But, it's called somatic. There's somatic as body work. And so if any of your listeners do have really intense feelings, there are lots of different techniques. Breath work is incredible. Meditation helps settle the mind, but breath work is actually getting you back into the body. There's things like havening where you're, you can look it up, but you're literally crossing your arms over across your chest, moving from your shoulders down to your elbows, stroking your arms. You tell yourself, I'm safe. There's lots of different processes or modalities that get you back into the body, but all we're trying to do is shift the energy, because this is all feeling states are. It's trapped energy in your body. So if you move it through, then it's not stuck there. So you'll have a different experience. But all that to say that everything's energy. So at the end of the day, all feeling states, all thoughts are light. So to your point around the driving, if you can start bringing, when it feels black and sticky, then you can also, there's another way of just like imagining bringing some light into it, just from everywhere, just trying to bring light. Because thoughts, you're still thinking about it, aren't you? So it's still the process of thought is bringing light to light. And that's really a powerful way of moving dark energy as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Claire. This has been absolutely amazing.
You're welcome. Always a joy talking to you.
It's all right. Thank you so much. So, how can listeners find you if they want to? Well, if they want to, of course, they're going to want to know more. How can they start leaning into you? Where can they go?
Well, I am all over LinkedIn. So Claire Sewell is my LinkedIn profile, and also Swell Coach, SWELL coach.co.uk.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And just give us a little summary of your business and who you help and what you do. And
yeah, I work mainly with female entrepreneurs, business owners and coaches. And I help them get out of their heads, back into their heart, why they started the business. And so they can move forward into, freedom and creating the joy and their life by design.
Oh, God, I just love that. Fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us your time, your energy, your insight. This is going to help people so much. I just want to get this out into the world. Yeah, definitely. I would not be here now if it wasn't for your help and your teaching and your coaching in the early stages.
Yeah. Thank you. I love what you're doing now. It's amazing. I love that you're passing it all on. It's paying it forward, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you so much. So have a check out of Claire, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening to Making Sales Simple, a podcast by Helen Tebay, the sales lady. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Spotify for more.